Welcome to Providence Academy!
To Canaan's land I'm on my way, where the soul of man never dies.
Every child deserves an education that is true and beautiful and good. Every child needed to be surrounded by teachers that loved them, that also believed the Catholic faith needed to be intertwined with everything our children were learning. We are here to assist you in the intellectual, spiritual, and moral formation of your children. And we do it in faithfulness to the magisterium of the Catholic Church.
People who visit our academy are amazed at what our children are able to learn at all ages. And yet others wonder why a classical Catholic education would even matter.
How we study in a classical education is different than most other forms of education. In it, we pay attention to the student's natural intellectual development. We study all of reality. We don't leave anything out. So we study all things, but we study all things in a proper hierarchy, in a proper subordination, so that ultimately everything that we study is ordered towards theology, is ordered towards God.
It's an appreciation of beauty and a creativity that helps us to be fully human. So we tap into that imagination and creativity by not only having children read and study great minds who had a great sense of imagination, but also to allow them in the application of their studies to exercise that same imagination.
We study the classics. We study those works of literature, history, of theology, of philosophy that have been approved by generations, that have been given to us by tradition, by our forefathers, as trustworthy fonts of wisdom. We're not making things up or running with the fads of each decade. The student's education isn't dependent on the whims or the personality or the opinions of his teacher, but instead we're simply trying to pass on the tradition of the West, and especially the tradition of the Catholic Church.
My children before classical education at Providence and their education after Providence, after being at Providence Academy, it was a transformation. We were sure we would have a point where they would just say no more, but we saw the opposite. We saw that true, beautiful education inspired them. The more you gave them, the more they would thrive. What we've forgotten is that true self-esteem in a child is actually developed when a child has to learn and to struggle and to overcome something that's very difficult. The harder they had to work, the more difficult the material was that they had to learn, the more joy that came out of them.
Today I witnessed really a hope for the church, this beautiful school. I witnessed the innocence of the children. I witnessed the faith of them, their prayers, and the commitment of the teachers. And I wish that such a school as here in Providence may be also in several places, so the church will be really renewed. Because the church can be only renewed starting with good Catholic families.
All good education takes a commitment. It takes a commitment between parents, the faculty, and the student. In short, it takes courage, but most importantly, it takes faith.
The education that our parents provide their children through their time at Providence Academy is unlike any education provided to most children today. It is time-tested, it is beautiful, it is true, and it is classical.
There's nothing common.
Nothing common.
Nothing common. Nothing common.
Nothing common.
There's nothing common about our classical curriculum.